Frontier town. Late afternoon. 1870s Wyoming. A hot wind sweeps dust along the rutted main street, swirling grit into the air until the buildings seem to fade behind a yellow haze. Wooden signs creak on their rusted hinges. A stray dog limps past a watering trough. The heavy door of the sheriff's office creaks open. Emma Callaway, 25, steps out, slim, sunburned, with sharp green eyes that have learned to scan the edges of every street for danger. Her dark hair is tied back in a loose knot, and her dress, though mended, shows the wear of someone who's been on her own too long. She exhales slowly, a paper in her hand, a dismissal of theft charges she didn't commit. But the victory is hollow. Across the street, two shopkeepers pause mid-conversation to watch her. A woman by the well shakes her head. Three men leaning against the livery stable murmur under their breath. Whispering man, loud enough for her to hear. Trouble in a pretty dress. Emma's jaw tightens. She doesn't look at them. She's learned not to. Flash hints, quick visual cuts. A small girl clutching a worn doll as a wagon rolls away. Her father dead, her mother gone. A cold boarding house. Her hands raw from washing dishes. Laughter in a smoky saloon. A man's hand gripping her chin. Her eyes burning with defiance. Don't let him close. Don't let him in. That's how you get hurt. General store. Minutes later, Emma steps onto the wooden porch of the general store, the bell above the door tinkling as she exits with a small paper sack, flour, coffee, and a tin of peaches. Three drunk cowhands loiter near the hitching post, eyes glassy, whiskey on their breath. Drunk number one. Well, the sheriff let the little thief walk. Emma keeps moving. Drunk number two. Maybe she'll thank us for keeping her company. Ain't right. A girl wandering alone. One steps in front of her, forcing her to stop. She meets his gaze without flinching, but her fingers tighten on the sack. Drunk number one. Circling her. You used to work over at the Scarlet Lantern, didn't ya? Wonder if you still. His sentence is cut short. A shadow falls over the porch. Luke Mercer, 30s. Tall, broad-shouldered, dust-coated from the trail, stands a few steps away. His hat's brim hides part of his face, but the sharpness in his eyes is unmistakable. His hand rests near his holster, though he doesn't draw. Luke, you boys blocking the doorway, or are you fixing to buy something? The cowhands glance at one another, weighing their odds. Something in Luke's steady stillness tells them it's not worth the trouble. They mutter curses and drift away into the street. Emma stares at him, wary. Emma, I could have handled it. Luke, maybe, but you didn't have to. He tips his hat slightly and steps aside, letting her pass. Main street, continuous. Emma walks down the boardwalk, Luke a few paces behind. The silence between them is thick, not hostile, just uncertain. Every so often, she glances over her shoulder. A rumble of thunder rolls in the distance. The sky has shifted, dark clouds gathering fast over the prairie. Town edge, moments later. Emma reaches the edge of town, where a narrow trail leads out toward the open plains. She adjusts the sack in her arms. Luke, storm will be on us inside an hour. Emma, I've ridden through worse. Luke, on foot. She doesn't answer. Her boots are worn thin, dust clinging to the seams. She glances toward the stables, but shakes her head. No money for a horse. Luke's gaze lingers on her a moment longer, before he turns toward his horse, a sturdy buckskin tied nearby. He swings into the saddle, rain-scented wind tugging at his coat. He starts to ride off, and then stops. Luke, you headed far? Emma, far enough. Luke, it's a long way too far enough. Beat. Ride with me. Emma studies him, searching for the angle, the cost. There's always a cost. Emma, and what exactly do you want for it? Luke, nothing you ain't willing to give. She smirks bitterly. That's what they all say. EXT, plains trail later. The buckskin moves at an easy lope, the storm swelling behind them. Emma sits behind Luke, her arms awkwardly at her sides rather than around his waist. The wind whips her hair into her face. In the distance, lightning forks across the horizon. Emma, over the wind. You don't even know me. Luke, maybe not, but I know that town, and I know the kind of men who think they own everything they see. She doesn't reply. She focuses on the smell of rain and leather, on the rhythmic sway of the horse. Open prairie, storm front, dusk. The storm hits hard, wind lashing, rain like needles. Luke urges the horse faster toward a line of cottonwoods. Emma's voice cuts through the roar of thunder. Emma, I'm no good at love. Luke glances back at her, rain dripping from his hat brim. Luke, then let me show you. They ride into the darkness together, the storm swallowing the town behind them. Luke's homestead, day. A modest ranch, tucked between low hills and open plains, miles from the nearest town. A corral sits half-mended. Horses graze lazily in the sun. Inside the small cabin, Emma stirs awake in a narrow bed. The room is plain, a rough dresser, a single window framing the endless sky. From the kitchen, she hears the soft percolation of coffee and the muted clink of a tin cup. She sits up, hair tangled, wary. Her boots sit neatly by the bed, cleaned of the dust and mud she'd worn in. Kitchen, continuous. Luke Mercer stands by the stove, pouring coffee into 2 cups. His movements are unhurried, precise, without looking at her. Luke, coffee's hot, cups are clean. Emma hesitates, waiting for the catch. There's none. She sits across from him at the small table, eyes flicking between the steam and his weathered face. They drink in silence. No questions, no judgment, just the quiet creak of the cabin walls in the wind. Montage, the slow build of trust. Pasture, day. Luke adjusts the stirrups on a saddle and helps Emma onto a chestnut mare. His hand is steady on her boot. Trail, day. He rides beside her, giving short, calm instructions. She laughs, small, surprised, when the horse obeys her command. Cabin, night. She mends the tear in his work shirt by the fire. Luke works on a lariat, glancing at her but saying nothing. Corral, morning. He teaches her to rope a dummy calf. She misses. He smiles faintly, adjusts her stance, and lets her try again. Creek, sunset. They water the horses side by side, the glow of the setting sun casting their silhouettes on the water. Days pass like this. Quiet. Work. A rhythm without intrusion. Emma finds herself smiling without realizing it. Front yard, afternoon. 2 riders approach. Hank and Brody, men from Luke's past. Weathered, mean-eyed. Luke stiffens before they're even close. Hank, heard you owed some coin, Mercer. Thought we'd collect. Their eyes slide to Emma, lingering too long. Brody grinning. You keepin' company now? Didn't figure you for that kind of man. Luke's jaw tightens. Luke, debt'll be handled when it's handled. You can ride out. They snicker, make another crude remark about Emma, then spit in the dust before turning their horses. But Emma can feel Luke's quiet fury in the way his shoulders stay tense long after they're gone. Cabin night. Emma sits at the table, chewing her lip. Outside, the wind moans against the shutters. She's restless, the kind of restless that makes her want to run. She packs her small satchel quietly, her boots in hand. She gets to the door, hand on the latch. Stops. The thought of stepping into that dark emptiness, back to being nobody's problem, nobody's anything, it freezes her. She sets the satchel down, sits back at the table, waits until the sky begins to pale. Pasture, morning. A pack of coyotes circles near the livestock pen. The horses stamp nervously. The goats bleat. Luke grabs his rifle, heading out. but Emma's already in the yard, picking up a stout piece of wood. She swings it at the first coyote that leaps toward the fence, striking hard. Luke fires twice, scattering the rest. When the last of them flee, they stand in the stillness, both breathing hard. Luke meets her eyes, not with surprise, but with a kind of quiet respect. Cabin night. The fire burns low. Emma sits across from Luke, fingers curled around a chipped mug. Emma, every time I thought I had a home, every time I thought someone might stay, they didn't. They always found a reason to leave. Luke doesn't rush to answer. He sets his mug down, leans back, eyes steady on hers. Luke, ain't about who left. It's about who stays. She swallows hard. His words hit something deep, something raw. Homestead dawn. Mist rolls over the pasture. The early light glints off dew-soaked grass. From the east, a lone rider approaches. His horse is black, his coat dusty from the trail. Emma steps onto the porch, squinting. Recognition drains the color from her face. Nate Caldwell, her former employer at the saloon, swings down from his horse. He's sharp-eyed, sharp-tongued, and dressed in fine but worn clothes. Nate. Well, look what the wind blew out here. You've been owing me, Emma, and I've come to collect. His gaze slides to Luke, then back to her. Nate, mocking. We can do this the easy way, or I can take you back the way I found you. Luke's hand drifts toward the butt of his revolver. The morning air is suddenly very, very still. Ranch yard morning. Frost still clings to the grass, and a low mist curls along the fence line. Hoofbeats. Nate Caldwell rides in with 2 armed men. His smirk is as cold as the steel on his hip. Nate, shouting, I've come for what's mine, Mercer. Emma freezes on the porch, her fingers gripping the railing until her knuckles whiten. From the barn, Luke Mercer steps into the open. His gait is unhurried, but his presence is steady, like a man who's already decided where he'll stand and die if need be. Luke, you got nothing here that belongs to you. Nate's eyes shift to Emma, a slow, ugly grin spreading. Nate, we'll see about that. Luke takes 2 steps forward, putting himself squarely between Nate and Emma. Showdown. The air hangs heavy. No one moves. The horses shift nervously. Nate. Draw, Cowboy. Let's see if that hand's as fast as your mouth. Luke doesn't blink. Doesn't flinch. Luke. Not today. Nate's smirk fades into a scowl. He jerks his chin. One of his men dismounts, hand drifting toward his gun. On the porch, Emma's heart hammers. She remembers Luke's voice in the quiet nights. Stand your ground. Don't let them see fear. She steps down off the porch, rifle in hand. The metal is cold against her palms, but her grip is firm. Emma, you boys might walk in here, but you won't walk out. The armed men hesitate, surprised. Luke's eyes flick to her, just for a second, and in that look there's pride. Then everything explodes. The fight. Gunfire rips through the cold air. Luke's rifle kicks against his shoulder. One of Nate's men drops, clutching his side. Emma fires from the porch, shattering the second man's gun hand. Nate lunges from his saddle, tackling Luke. They crash into the dirt, fists and elbows flying. Nate's knife flashes. Luke grunts, a line of red blooming on his shirt. Emma screams, rushing forward, rifle swinging like a club. The butt cracks against Nate's jaw. Luke takes the opening, twisting Nate's wrist until the knife clatters to the ground. With one last punch, Nate collapses in the mud, dazed and bleeding. He stumbles to his feet, clutching his side, and scrambles onto his horse. Nate. This ain't over, Mercer. They thunder away, leaving only the smell of gunpowder and the echo of hoofbeats. Aftermath. The ranch yard is a mess, mud-churned, smoke curling from the barn roof where a stray bullet hit. Luke stands, breathing hard, blood seeping from his side. Emma drops the rifle and grabs his arm. Emma, you're bleeding. Sit now. He doesn't argue. She leads him inside, sits him at the table, and rips open his shirt. Her hands tremble, not from fear, but from the thought of what could have happened. Emma, you could have ridden away. You didn't have to. Luke's gaze locks on hers. Luke, I told you, I'm here to show you. Her breath catches. For a long moment, neither speaks. The fire crackles in the hearth. Epilogue spring. Homestead day. The snow is gone. Wildflowers pepper the fields. Emma walks a young foal in the corral, her hand gentle on its neck. She laughs when it tries to buck. Luke is by the fence line, hammer in hand, mending a post. He glances over at her, not with possession, but with quiet contentment. They move together in a rhythm they didn't have to force. A simple life, a chosen life. She thought love was something that left, until she met a cowboy who stayed. If you've ever had someone stay when they could have left, someone who taught you what love really means, then share this story. Like the video. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell us, has someone ever stood by you, even when it was easier to walk away? Subscribe for more frontier tales, where grit, love, and redemption ride together under open skies. Because sometimes the strongest love isn't the loudest, it's the one that doesn't leave.